All right. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has urged President Bola Tinubu to ensure payment of the 8-month withheld salaries of lecturers on the account of the 2022 strike. ASUU also asked the new government to put machinery in motion for the conclusion of the renegotiation of the 2009 ASUU/Federal Government Agreement following recommendations of Professor Nimi Briggs Committee to restore integrity in the system. Jide, when the strike was suspended by ASUU, the federal government, through the last administration, vowed not to pay them the 8 months that they went on strike. And it was like a no work, no pay situation. And that thing, we thought the federal government, under the last administration, we thought they were going to change their mind. But till now, that 8 months is not looking as if they will give members of ASUU. So ASUU now, they are now demanding it that, come, this is a new administration, please work with us and pay us our 8-month salary.
I think that the government should go ahead and pay ASUU the 8-month salary that you are being owed. ASUU is not the first to go on strike in our country. In fact, research institutes in our country went on strike for over a year, and they continue to collect salaries. They don't have two heads now. I know that it was the former president that insisted on not paying them, despite being advised to pay them. ASUU's argument is that during the strike, it was only the lecturing component that you could say was affected by the strike. Researchers continue to work on research. The universities were not shut. Even during that period, some university senates were called upon to exercise their duty. Vice chancellors were at work. So it's not exactly right to give the impression that throughout that period that universities were shut, they were not working at all. So yes, they were not giving lectures, but some of them were supervising doctoral theses, and these people were being supervised. Some of them were involved in research, and they continued to work on their researches. So I believe that the not paying them their salary at that time was bad enough. In any case, they decided to end the strike because they were told that those outstanding issues will be resolved. And up to today, those issues have not been resolved. I know that the ASUU president is not somebody particularly good at negotiating, and some of his caustic comments may have angered people in government. For example, this ASUU president came out to condemn the student loan scheme. I wonder how that was his business. You have issues that you are pursuing with the people in government, and you are stepping forward to annoy them more and more. How is it going to be possible for you to extract some of the demands that you've been making when you have not shown good faith? What is your business with the students' loan thing? Even if you have issues with it, since you are looking up to these people to help you address what seemed like injustice perpetrated by the previous administration, you have to know what and what to say. It's not as if they told me that this is why they've not responded to ASUU. Well, I'm just telling the ASUU president that he has to watch his tongue I supported ASUU from the beginning right up to the end. But the truth has to be told. The Professor also declared some of his utterances. For example, giving the impression that ASUU was conned, deceived by Femi Gbajabiamila. And Femi Gbajabiamila fought for ASUU from the beginning, just the same way he stepped in and got resident doctors to end their strike. But you are saying that he conned you, he deceived you. I mean, that's not for somebody who has shown respect to ASUU and shown an interest in solving ASUU's problems. This kind of utterances are simply meaningless. They don't achieve anything in the end. So, yes, NLC has also pushed that this money should be paid. I agree that the money should be paid. There is no point punishing them. Some of their colleagues have even lost their lives as a result of the pains that were inflicted on them during this period. So I want to appeal to the government of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu to consider paying ASUU this, not just this 8 month salary, but their promotion areas as well. We will not have industrial harmony in our ivory towers, federal ivory towers, if some of the outstanding issues are not addressed, especially even the recommendations of the Nimi Briggs, the late Nimi Briggs panel. Government set up the panel, but refused to honor its own obligation by implementing the recommendations of a panel that it set up by itself. I think the Tinubu administration has an obligation to correct some of these things and get ASUU to realize that it has nothing against them. But as I said earlier, the president of ASUU has to also be conscious of his public utterances, because they are not helping ASUU at all. And I'm sure a lot of his colleagues know that, even if they don't say it to his face. Those needless utterances are not helping the organization.
So, the no work, no pay thing, former President Muhammadu Buhari decided to follow it to the latter, and a lot of people think that he has not done anything wrong.
Basically, nothing wrong. There is a court order to that effect. There is a court ruling to that effect. The National Industrial Court. It says no work, no pay. So even if
twice, if you want to go on strike,
well, even if there is still a court order that is in place. So if they do not, like BQ said, go through a peaceful resolution path, they are still going to be referred to this judgment that was delivered at the National Industrial Court, which said at that time, see, we do not agree that you should pay these lecturers through the IPPIS. But for people who have gone on strike, they shouldn't be paid. So it's there, very clearly. So what ASUU can do is not to threaten strike again. It has two parts to follow, either of two parts. Go back to the court and fight it all the way through, possibly up to the Supreme Court, to get this thing paid. By which time I'm sure most of these lecturers will not be in service again if we allow the judiciary to run its full course. Or to the path of peace. Things have gone wrong. The way we are even in this country now, we don't need all this threat of strike again. We don't. The country is at a stage where a little thing can lead to a massive crisis because people are on the edge. People are seriously on the edge. You want to get students back to their homes again after being on strike for over 1 year in the last 3-4 years? cumulatively. That's going to be pure wickedness. So I support BKO. Let them go and say, see, the National Industrial Court, through its president, then it can ruled, truly. But we are ready for us to resolve this matter amicably, not through the courts again. Because that was what happened. Ngigi took them to court when they couldn't resolve it. We know the situation of the country. The economy is bad. But not for government to completely neglect the education sector. Not at all. But in between when we negotiate, workers generally now, all the unions, in between when we negotiate, we should be able to see some of the finer details. What is this country making? How much are we making? How much are we expecting the government to give to us? If government should meet all the needs of ASUU, the economy will completely collapse. It means doctors, other workers will have nothing.
Ultimately, they have to continue to dialogue, and it's the prerogative of the federal government maybe to give them the money or not.
Yes, we can say that, but again, you cannot indulge in war all the time. We have to also judge. The question is, what were the reasons that ASUU went on strike? Those reasons, could they have been tackled headlong? You see, ASUU went on strike because of unpaid allowances. ASUU went on strike because of the comatose situation of the education sector.
And previous agreements.
All of previous agreements not met by several administrations. Government has a very bad history of not keeping. So government is very good at signing agreements with these unions, and it's also even better at reneging and failing to keep those promises. So those people went on strike because there have been promises and promises and promises. Then out of some sort of grudge, government now went to court and said, look, okay, no work, no pay. I think that there should be a way of resolving this thing in a more diplomatic way. You understand? On the part of government, on the part of ASUU. I remember very well that the current president, as the candidate of APC, promised that for a 4-year course in university will be a 4-year course in the university. So anything that has the potential to lead to an industrial action in that sector should be avoided. He should be a man of his word in that area. He should make sure that nothing leads to. After all, the people that will suffer more are the children, the students. You know, spending 4 years, 5 years, 6 years to study a course like history or philosophy or accountancy. It does not make sense. When are we going to have an end to all of that? So on one hand, we can say, okay, ASUU, calm down, don't go on strike, everything doesn't have to be strike. We still have to tell government that, look, meet with these people. I also agree that it may not be easy to meet all of the needs at the same time, but there must be what? Communication. There must be seriousness.
And even conscious efforts.
Exactly.
And the bad part of it now is, when you look at the cost of governance, what a lot of Nigerians are complaining about, you begin to say, how do you want to make me understand that you don't have money when you are putting this level of, how do I describe it now? Expenses on the government that's needless. And there are so many things that we can point to that people are talking about, because a lot of things can't make sense to a man who is hungry. Yeah. A lot of things. You say you want to buy a bulletproof car for one government official. It doesn't make any sense to a man who is hungry saying, okay, why will a man be preventing himself from being killed and buy a vehicle worth 300 million naira when that 300 million can do a lot in a society?
All right, moving on now. The Nnamdi Kanu issue is getting more